Edgar Cayce, often referred to as the sleeping prophet, was a man who captivated the world with his incredible abilities to predict the future. Throughout his life, he gave thousands of psychic readings on topics ranging from health to world events, offering advice that some believed was deeply insightful. Among his many predictions, some of the most compelling and mysterious ones involve his vision of the Antichrist and the signs that would mark his arrival. In this video, we'll delve into Cayce's final predictions about the Antichrist and explore how they align with current events. These prophecies hold deep significance, especially for those who believe that we are living in the end times. Let's take a look at what Edgar Cayce foresaw and how his predictions are still relevant today. Cayce, who was known for having detailed dreams and visions while in a trance-like state, shared alarming details about the future. His predictions about the Antichrist were not limited to one sign or event. Instead, he described three major signs that would mark the rise of the Antichrist and set the stage for the end times. Let's break these down, one by one, to understand the weight of Cayce's warnings and how they tie into today's global and spiritual landscape. The first sign Edgar Cayce spoke about was the disintegration of identity. According to Cayce, in the time before the Antichrist appears, humanity would experience a profound loss of self-awareness. People would begin to lose sight of their true nature, questioning and even destroying the values and beliefs that were once considered sacred. The very concepts of family, gender, and identity would be undermined by shifting ideologies. This crisis of identity would lead to societal fragmentation, where the boundaries between men and women would dissolve and confusion would reign. There would be loud calls for self-expression and liberation. Yet this new form of freedom would ultimately lead to the destruction of true unity and harmony. In this context, educational institutions, government systems, and even families would be torn apart by conflicting ideas and philosophies. Ideas that had stood the test of time would suddenly be questioned and, in some cases, obliterated altogether. The disintegration of identity would be fueled not just by human efforts, but by invisible forces that seek to destabilize humanity. Cayce suggested that these forces would be working behind the scenes to prepare the world for the rise of the Antichrist. This war of ideas would be the breeding ground for division and chaos, and as society crumbled, the Antichrist would emerge as a figure offering supposed solutions, promising to unite a fractured world. As we look around today, we see striking parallels. The identity crisis Cayce warned about is already upon us. The debates over gender, family structure, and even what it means to be human are playing out on a global stage. More than ever before, people are redefining themselves, often in ways that go against traditional values. The rise of social justice movements, debates about free speech, and the growing number of people who challenge long-standing religious and cultural norms reflect this very phenomenon. These are the signs Cayce predicted, and they seem to be unfolding right before our eyes. The second sign Cayce predicted was the illusion of freedom. He foresaw a time when people across the world would cry out for freedom, but this freedom would be a deceptive one. According to Cayce, laws would be passed under the guise of protecting security and offering safety. But in reality, they would be tools to enslave humanity. People would be led to believe that they were gaining more autonomy, when in fact, they would be losing it at an alarming rate. In the name of convenience and security, Cayce predicted that advanced digital technologies would be used to monitor every movement and word. We can already see these technologies emerging in our world today, from digital surveillance systems that track our activities to social media algorithms that shape our perceptions of reality. We are becoming more and more connected to systems of control. In Cayce's vision, these systems would not only track our movements, but also influence our thoughts and decisions. He spoke of a future where social credit systems and digital currencies would allow for unprecedented levels of control over individuals. Dissenting opinions would be punished, and those who refused to conform would be socially excluded, making it difficult to maintain privacy or freedom of expression. These advancements in technology, which are already on the horizon, would be positioned as progress, But Cayce warned that these innovations would not be used to free humanity, but to bind it. Artificial intelligence, data analytics, and digital currencies like central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, would play a key role in this process. Cayce predicted that the Antichrist would use these tools to establish a totalitarian regime that controls not just the body, but the mind. He would present himself as a promoter of progress and liberty, but in reality, he would be ushering in a new era of spiritual enslavement. In today's world, the rapid rise of technology and the expansion of surveillance systems seem to be leading us down the path Cayce described. Digital identities, tracking systems, and social credit scores are already being tested and implemented in various parts of the world. The so-called promises of convenience and safety have led many to unknowingly give up their freedoms. Cayce's warning about the illusion of freedom is more relevant than ever as we navigate a world that increasingly prioritizes control over true autonomy. The third sign Cayce predicted was the fury of the earth. He foresaw that the earth would react violently to humanity's moral decay and spiritual neglect. Natural disasters would become more frequent and severe, shaking the very foundations of the world. From uncontrollable wildfires to devastating floods, from furious winds to earthquakes that would level entire cities, the earth would bear witness to humanity's folly. The imbalance caused by human actions, pollution, deforestation, and the destruction of natural habitats would be mirrored in nature's fury. But Cayce also predicted that these natural disasters would serve as a backdrop for the Antichrist's rise. As the world was shaken by calamities, powerful leaders would exploit the crises to consolidate their power. They would promise to save the earth, but their true agenda would be much darker: to establish a new system of control that would trap humanity in a cycle of dependence and servitude. Cayce believed that the Antichrist would position himself as the savior of humanity, offering solutions to the chaos caused by environmental destruction. But in reality, he would further enslave the world. Looking at today's world, we can see that many of Cayce's predictions are already manifesting. The frequency and severity of natural disasters have increased in recent years, with wildfires, floods, hurricanes, and other extreme weather events occurring with greater intensity. Climate change is a growing concern, and it is widely debated whether current efforts to address the crisis are part of a genuine solution or a way to consolidate power. Some believe that certain global initiatives, while well-meaning, could be used to impose a new system of control over people's lives. Cayce's vision of the fury of the earth seems to align with the reality we are facing today. The destruction of archaeological sites and historical heritage in Jerusalem is seen by some as part of a broader spiritual battle. Forces opposed to preserving the city's true history are attempting to erase the divine presence that has been embedded in its foundations. This effort to wipe away Jerusalem's spiritual identity mirrors the Antichrist's strategy to destabilize faith and manipulate human identity. In a world increasingly divided and confused, the divine presence in Jerusalem stands as a reminder of God's sovereignty and the need for spiritual preparation in the face of chaos. So, what do these predictions and events mean for us today? Cayce's warnings about the rise of the Antichrist and the signs that would mark his arrival are not just historical curiosities. They are timely and urgent messages for us to reflect upon. As we witness the disintegration of identity, the illusion of freedom, and the fury of the earth, it becomes clear that the world is changing rapidly. But in the midst of these unsettling developments, we must remember that our faith and spiritual preparation are more important than ever. The signs are clear. The Antichrist will come as a deceiver, offering promises of salvation and freedom. But his true agenda is to control and enslave. Now, more than ever, it is crucial to seek truth, resist the illusions imposed by the forces of darkness, and stay vigilant in our faith. The divine presence in Jerusalem serves as a powerful reminder that we are not alone, and that God's plan for humanity is unfolding as predicted. As we face the challenges and chaos of the present world, we must be prepared for the ultimate return of Christ, the true Savior. Let us heed these signs and strengthen our faith as we approach the end times.